What's going on, guys? It's Screech here, and we are back once again on a Saturday for another deck roundup. Deck roundup. We round up our local scene that we played on the Thursday, talk about it, talk about the price by price card for each card, give you a rough price. This is a very expensive deck today, and it comes with a dub because we took first place once again at our locals with another Invoke deck because I don't know about you, but I've been summoning in Alistair for 4 years and never regretted it once. So, we're going to throw our little side deck up here and our extra deck up here. Talk about the card by card choice of our deck. So, we played Dogmatika. Oh, hello, Dogmatika. Dogmatika Invoked this week. No Eldritch, nothing else with it. Just pure Dogmatika Invoked, if you would like to call it that. Starting off with the main boy himself, 3 copies of Alistair the Invoker. Like I said, it's going to fetch you around about a fiver for a playset. He searches your invocation. Everything's self-explanatory with the invoked core. Alistair is searchable off Meltdown, which is searchable off Terraforming. This searches your invocation, which helps you make all of your fusions. You use the package in the extra deck, the Almirage Secure Gardener, because it puts a additional card in the graveyard for your Dogmatica cards and puts your light on the board before your 5th summon so you can play around Nibiru. Self-expansion will set you round about a fiver. We decided to max out on the best girl in the game right now, waifu of the deck, Dogmatica Ecclesia. These will set you round about 15 each, so 45 for the set. What she does is, of course, it's your additional normal summon if you don't draw your Alistair, but you pretty much always will draw. You'll always draw one of these with the consistency cards that you can play with it, and you draw both of these. I'd say like 80 to 90% of the time you will see both of these in your opening hand. So, what she does is, of course, as well as being normal or special summoned, you can special summon her if there is a monster on the field that was summoned from the extra deck. This is for both you and your opponent, so if you get forced to go second, you get to special summon her. When she's summoned, same with all of the Dogmatica cards, and in course Nadir's Servant, you can't summon from the extra deck, so it's vitally important that you do all of your invoke stuff before you do your Dogmatica stuff or anything else. It also means that you cannot play stuff like the Dragoon engine, which is very unfortunate. It's here at the side of me. I was thinking about it, and then it just doesn't come up. The thought process behind it was that you set this board up turn 1, and then turn 2 you can Dragoon. But if you end up using punishment, it locks you out of your next turn. It locks you out of like 2 turns. So it's just not worth it. Just don't overcomplicate this deck. The deck is the most linear, straightforward deck you will ever see. You play 3 of this, 2 or 3 of this. The rest of the Dogmatic cards will get onto. Obviously, the stuff to search it. Hand traps, generic traps, whatever else. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't start throwing, what if I start putting this engine in it as well and that engine in it? Unless you're playing like the Eldritch build or... what's the other build? There's another build, I can't remember. You just don't overcomplicate it. So, like I said, these will set you about 45. These will set you back about a fiver. To round up the Dogmatica cards, we are still playing the 1 Maximus. And to round those up, we are playing 2 copies of Fleur de Lis. This is your engine, this is your deck. This is it, right here. Nothing else. This is literally it. Everything else is either helping you get to these, or generic, or hand traps. This is literally the deck, in a nutshell, these 9 cards. Maximuses are about 5, Fleur de Lises are about 15. Overall, this core will set you back a lot, basically. Maximus, what she does is you can banish a monster, essentially, that was from the extra deck, Fusion, Synchro, XE, or Link, as you can see there. Special summons, both players send 2 cards from their extra deck directly to the grave. You get to trigger your stuff, you get to send and pop cards. Fleur de Lis is your searchable hand trap. During the main phase, if a special summoned card from the extract on the field, you can summon it. Then if you control the Dogmatica, you can negate a card. Non-targeting, by the way. So this thing is your outs to stuff like Dragoon and everything else. Next, it's the hand traps, and I've been testing a few hand traps. If you've watched any of my other deck profiles, you will know I'm a firm believer of 1 Veiler, because Hulk is a hell of a card, and can help just turbo into access code, but we're not playing it today. We're actually opting for 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird, yes, 2 ultis and a super because I can't find my 3rd ulti, 3 copies of Ghost Abele, and 3 copies of Asher Bluesem. Hand traps are completely format dependent, and more importantly, like your local dependent and your budget, because these you can pick up cheap. These are still going to set you back, even for the cheapest copies, nearly £30 a playset. You don't have to get the nice shiny ulti rares, the secret rares. Weird flex, I know, but it just is what it is. These are the 9 hand traps I played. This just shuts down Dryatron. This is arguably one of the best generic cards in the game right now, and this is in every deck. Again, not overcomplicating it. That's it for the monsters. You got your Dogmatika engine, your Invoked engine, your hand traps. That's all you need. Like I said, if it's not an Invoked card, Dogmatika card, or good generic staple, it doesn't belong in the deck. Like I said, you got to max out on your consistency cards, your 1 Terraforming, your 3 copies of Magical Meltdown. Have seen some weird techs playing stuff like Secret Village of the Spellcasters, along with stuff like set rotation and stuff. I'll say it again, don't overcomplicate the deck. It is what it is. You don't need anything else. 2 copies of Invocation, round that up as well. Self-explanatory. Again, you'll pick these up for really cheap and these up for really cheap. Invocations will set you back around about, I want to say 20, 25 each. The ultis will set you back a lot more if you want to have a nice shiny deck like this. To go with your Invoked consistency cards, you need your Dogmatika consistency cards. Triple copies of Nadir's Servant, one of the most expensive cards from Rise of the Duelist. These things are going to set you back quite a hefty amount right now. Probably going to set you back around 70 each, maybe. Obviously price subject to change, reprints, everything else. I'm currently going off what I believe is the cheapest price of the cheapest rarity right this second, off the top of my head. This thing could have been bought out since I ate my dinner, because I ate my dinner before this, and these could be now £400. But I am under the impression they are around £70 each. What you don't know what this does, it sends a monster from your extra deck directly to the grave, then it lets you add a Dogmatika card, or Fallen of Albez, you don't play that, from your deck or graveyard directly to your hand. You can send Unts, pop a card, search an Ecclesia, you can send the Shadol stuff, Tinaclad, everything out. You can send so much off this. Anything that triggers engrave from the extra deck, you can send off this. It's so good. Now, controversial time. I am in the Dogmatika Duelists group, and you might even be from the Dogmatika Duelist group, and I asked for people's opinion on this card in the deck. Everybody said no. I have tested it today, and all of you just don't know what you're doing. 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. This card is absolute nuts. Not once today did I ever regret playing this. It came up in nearly every single game. It helped dig for the exact card I need. I was under Mystic Mine at one point. It helped dig for spell and trap removal. I seen all Dogmatika cards. It helped me dig for the invoke part of the engine. People are saying you shouldn't play this because the extra deck is pretty tight. There's no reason at all not to play this. Although your space is pretty tight in your extra deck and there's not much room for maneuvering, you don't summon all 15 in one game. So it's just about managing your resources, and with that in mind, there is no reason not to play this. Other people, you could play this if you're anti-pot. Sure, we'll call that anti-pot. People will play this exact similar list, but with things like triple tactical talents, even maybe Pot of Desires. You do play a lot of 3-ofs, but in my opinion, this card is the absolute nuts. You are a control-based deck. This is a broken control-based card. You can argue whatever. I'm telling you what the facts have done for me today. They've won me yet another locals, and it was a good chunk because of this card. Will set you back around about £70 each, though, so understandable. And then we are in a Spell and Trap heavy format, so we need the Spell and Trap removal. Double Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. This is the ratio I always like. You can opt for 3 of this, you can opt for Twin Twisters, you can opt to just play this. I think you should always have Spell and Trap removal in the main, and this is usually the ratio I go. I would rather cut hand traps, especially in this current format, for this ratio right here. Cosmics will set you back probably £2 or £3. Dusters, however, will set you back about 10-15, even for the worst rarity copies. And then to round up the spells, I play this in every deck because it is a phenomenal card. Triple copies of Forbidden Droplet. This thing is really good in this deck. Drawing this opening turn to break boards, or more importantly, like late in the game, you can send a dead card. Shaddoll Schism just sits there after he's resolved and Winder. Meltdown just sits up here after you've resolved it. It's 3 negates because of this card, on top of, well, discarding stuff from your hand. You've already had your uses for cards like Meltdown, for cards like Schism, and now they're just sort of sat there collecting dust. You can play a bigger Shaddoll engine and play multiple Schism targets, and you can do it every single turn. I used to play double Construct, double Winder, and it does come up. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just prefer to play the one-offs now, and Forbidden Droplet, it's just a phenomenal card for breaking boards at the end of the day. And then to round up the traps, double copies of Dogmatika Punishment, and we've mentioned it a few times now, Shaddoll Schism. Droplets are going to set you back around about £60 to £70. Punishment's just had a super print, can't wait to get that, not got it yet though. These will set you back about 10p, 15p. They are commons in a really heavy printed set. Schisms will set you back around about £15 right now. And that is your main deck. That is it. Done. Main deck. On to the extra deck. The Invoked lineup that everyone is playing right now, and the Invoked lineup that I play in any deck. Today, this is back-to-back weeks I've played Invoked. This is back-to-back weeks I've played against Bird Up. And this is back-to-back weeks where I have considered playing Invoked Rajin. And I am still considering playing Invoked Rajin and might have to put him in. Don't know what I'm going to drop for it. In both this, last week I obviously won with Mech Invoked. I have played Invoked Hand Traps before. I love Invoked, and I've had this engine since its original print, hence why most of it is original print max rarity, because I've had it for so long. But yeah, Invoked Rajin, it's really good. People used to play it, and then it got cut, but Mechabers will set you back probably about 4 or 5. Purgatrios will set you back £1. Aguades will set you back £1. This is your big negaty boy. You make him every game. This swings you for games. This comes up in the grind game. This thing can not only on summon pop a card, but it can also banish the fusion monster to gain attack and become absolutely huge and swing in for game. So if you're ever finding yourself dealing with something, maybe they've just got a big body on the board that you can't deal with, maybe something like an access code talker, maybe you've gone through double Mechabur or something already, you just make this, pop the access code, and then bang, he's on like 2k, and before you know it, you're banishing a Mechabur or a Purgatrio or any of your other fusion cards that you have in the grave, like Nts or anything like that, and he's on 3, 4, 5, 6,000, and he's just swinging for game. He's a phenomenal card. I haven't made him for a very long time, but I would never cut him. We're going to put these up here. I like it when you can see everything up in the corner. Continuing on with the monsters, the Shaddoll package, the Winder, the Construct, and the Acapellone. Acapellone will, of course, when it is sent, fetch you a Shaddoll card, and then you have the discard a card. There is a combo you can do where you can search the Schism and discard the Schism. It is with just Nadir's Servant if you can go through Ecclesia and then through Maximus. Construct is there to fetch it back. You can also make Construct if you don't end up going for that combo. Maybe you have something that you want to discard already. It comes up that maybe you need something else in the grave for it. And Winder is the card that you make 95% of the time. Ideally, your board you want to end on Mechabur Winder with Fleur de Lis in hand, and any other follow-up plays you have on top of that. As for pricing, I don't think you're going to fetch much for any of these. Probably at most £2 or £3 for the Winder and £1 for the other boys. And I think, with the exception of a card we've mentioned a few times now, no, we forgot one. Double Nts will fetch you back about £1 to £2. You send this to pop a card, that's pretty much self-explanatory. And Big Tit, Glad, the Ash Dragon. This is sent, it's dark, it helps make you Winder. When you are making Nts, not when you're making Nts, when you're triggering Maximus, you usually send Acapellone Titaniklad or Construct Titaniklad if you've already discarded the Schism and need to fetch it back. This is your Dark that helps make you Winder, and more importantly, on the end phase, he's going to search for a Dogmatika card, or special a Dogmatika card. So if you haven't ended up going through the Ecclesia route, you can actually immediately off this spec an Ecclesia and add the Fleur de Lis that way, or you just add the Fleur de Lis and you've got your searchable hand trap for next turn. That is all of your fusions, which is going across the entire screen. And it actually only leaves you with about 4 spaces in your extra deck. Almirage, Secure Gardener. You can play the Argemistus link, but I can tell you now, you benefit so much more having the second card in the grave. Ideally, you go Alistair into Almirage into Secure Gardener. You've got your Light for Mechaba, you've got your extra deck target in the grave. These are not going to set you back a lot. Tatiniclad will set you back about 5. These are going to set you back no more than £1 each. This has come in common. This has come in at Ultra in Dual Overload. And then to round up the extra deck cards, Nightmare Phoenix, generic. I would change this back to Cyframe Lord Omega, but it is really good. And then you are playing a heavy spellcaster deck, so Selene and Access Code. Only ended up making these once today. Phenomenal cards will set you back about £3, about 10, and about 60 or 70. That's it. That's the extra deck. Nothing overcomplicated. No spicy engines. No nothing, because you don't need it. Side deck. 3 copies of Big Smashel Rock, 3 Nibiru. Still combos running around. I actually sided this every game today, actually. Yeah, I sided this every game. And I saw it most games. It shut down Bird Up, and it shut down Prankids. It's just a phenomenal card. You can't go wrong with 3 Nibiru, 3 Lightning Storms. You aren't always going first. You can side these for anything else that's really good going second. Dark Ruler no more, evenly matched. You'll get a playset of these for around 20. You'll get a playset of these for about 180. I opted to play the Cyframe package. Was kind of thrown together last minute, the side deck. Did side this in, never saw it though. It is really good at going second. You'll probably pick up this exact rarity, the Peasant Little Toon Chaos Rares, probably for I'd say you get a 3 gammas and a driver for a £5, I'd say. Pankatops because it's Pankatops, and Reboot because it's Reboot. Don't need to explain this. This is one of the best going second cards in the game. Trap decks cannot deal with the red Reboot. It shuts them down for the turn and allows you to essentially go off. And the last but not least, triple copies of Artifact Lancia. This has been in my side deck since 2017, 18. This thing should never, ever, ever, ever come out of your side deck. I remember, was it last year, the year before, when, Dinos had its big resurgence and everyone was like, how come Dinos have had the resurgence? They've had no support. They've had no major changes. How come it's getting such a big resurgence? I'll tell you why, because people stopped siding Lancia. The deck can't play around Lancia, or at least can't play around it very well, and people just stopped siding it. Same with Invoked. It died off as newer decks come out, and then it started to gain popularity again, and people were like, why is Invoked topping again all of a sudden? This had no new support. People stopped siding Lancia. It's found its way back in the format, and it ain't going anywhere. But I'm telling you now, if you're watching this video on the Saturday it's released, or if you've stumbled across this video 10 years down the line, and you're still not siding this card, or if there's not a new version of this card, you are making a mistake. Best card in the game, in my opinion. It shuts down so many decks. It shuts down my deck, more importantly. Bird Up, the guy that played Bird Up today, Lancia'd me. It just shuts you down for a turn. Thankfully, I Lancia'd him both turns and Nibiru'd him. So, because we're good players like that. Quick roundup, Pankatops will set you back 10p. Reboot will set you back about 50p. Lancias will set you back probably about a £5 for the set. And that's it. You can add that all together. And what have you got? One less mortgage, but you have a shiny Yu-Gi-Oh deck that's going to win your locals. And with that bombshell, it's been your boy Scrooge, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, you should check out last Wednesday's video, which was, once again, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Monopoly series. If that's not your cup of tea and you're just here for deck profiles, I upload deck profiles every Saturday, Monopoly series every Wednesday. It's been your boy Scrooge, guys. Peace!